Huh? What up? What up? What up? What up? We back. We back. We back. YouTube, what's up, dog? We back, bro. Got the gang all here. Got my special guest, my brother Trent, came back to pull up again. You know what I'm saying? To get a YN perspective, as D Marsh would say. You feel me? Keep him on his toes. Hey, one thing I will say this though, bro. This is why I love Trent, bro. On top of him, just like being thorough and being like my brother, bro. That little nigga don't back down from nothing, boy. It don't matter, bro. Trent can be up in here with Gail Sayers, Jim Brown, whoever else you want to pick. He'll sit up there and be like, "Hey, man, I don't think y'all better than Saquon, bro. I respect Trent. That boy will stand on his guns, boy, for real though. Stand on him. But what's good, fellas? Mike, bro, we got another special guest up in here. We got the dude, Mike. Bro, we getting everybody up in here from open field podcast, bro. I always love to have y'all boys whenever y'all want to pull up. Y'all know it's love, bro. Got Mike up in here. F Dot, always the coolest dude. Like I told him earlier before the show, bro. Literally, chat. I'm not saying the coolest nigga I know, like real shit. And I don't mean that just gassing him up. Then we got that boy, freaky boy Penny. You feel me, Mr. Articulate himself. I'm ready to get his takes because I don't never have to edit them shits when I'm putting the captions on there. So,
What up?
Hey, Penny, can you turn your camera to the side so it fills out the whole screen? Oh, can you do that too? Turn your cameras, turn y'all phones to the side. Like,
okay. Yeah.
So it, yeah. So it fill out the whole screen. But it's a lot to go on. Last episode was a good one, man. Good discussion. We'll continue it here today, but we still doing the 80s and 90s. We had to finish it up, but it was a lot of good discourse, bro. A lot of good back and forth. I'm all here for it. How everybody doing, man? D Marsh, how you doing, OG?
I'm phenomenal, man. I'm sick of Trent ass though. No, it's all good. I'm chilling, man.
Man, glad.
I gotta put y'all YNs on some real OG stuff.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. That look like spray. That look like a spray bottle, right?
No, me. What is it?
Yeah, there we go.
Light it out. That's hard.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard. OG like the cigars, man. That's real grown man stuff.
Yeah, that is me. I love the cigars too. I ain't gonna lie.
Nah, that's a fire. That's a fire. What's his name? That's fire. So, how we gonna do this, man? What we doing, bro? How we doing this, bro?
What's the topic?
Well, we gonna start off with something a little light. Y'all see that the Texans are finalizing, possibly picking up Nick Chubb if he passes the physical. So that's what it's all contingent upon. How we feel about that? Because I know we always do the old school versus new school, and I know a lot of people be getting sick of that, but it's like the season ain't started yet. I want to say this, chat. The season hasn't started yet. So instead of just talking about hypotheticals, bro, these are just arguments that's easy to come around since it's already been going around. We done with the 80s, we done with the 90s. But I like the perspective what OGs come with because technically, after we did the draft, you can't really be done with the 80s and 90s as far as top fives go. Like, because it's hard to have players that has eclipsed what they have already done. But I do feel what Trent's saying. The pool has gotten a lot deeper than what it was in the 80s and 90s. You know what I'm saying? I know Marsh don't want to admit that.
No, let me interject. Let me cut you off real quick, man. It's a misconception that y'all have, right? Y'all think the older guys, because I'm not old. I'm still young.
You are our generation. We know.
So, you're younger than my pops by like a considerable amount, I think.
My point is that it's about educating. It's not about if y'all give me some young guys that's like that, which there are some I agree with, I'm gonna give you your just due. But here's the only problem I have. It's like the fucking ignorance, man. Like you can't say a name from then and then you just oh hell no, get that's mid shit out of here. That's I'm not saying that's what you specifically per se do, but your generation does that. And that's out of ignorance because I've had some of my students do that shit. And then when I give them the receipts, they like, OG, I ain't gonna lie, you was right. Because I had to show them. This is not about YNs versus old heads and none of that. It's about having an open forum. I love, because I'm a sociology major, by the way, so I love having an open forum to hear where y'all minds at and shit, and why do y'all have the perspective that you do. So it's not for real like a thing. I want you guys to be a little more educated on the subject before you dismiss it. That's all I'm saying. Penny made a great point last show. Like, you can't just, because you weren't there, you weren't even thought of yet, you can't just, you had to see that shit in real time. Like, not to go into go backwards, but I'm gonna just say this shit. Because if was a fifth, we all be drunk. If Bo Jackson don't break his hip, we're talking about him as the greatest running back ever played the game.
Ever. And it's not even close. But essentially to encapsulate everything, and this can be on any take ever that's given. You know, when you're young, you think everything that you see, everything that you know of is the encapsulation of everything that's great. But as you get older, you understand, that eras change. And so when you learn to appreciate people's perspective, and then you pay attention to what it was like, and you understand, hey, things evolve, just like everything, anything. Humans evolved, animals evolved, the world has evolved. So the sport will continue to evolve. That doesn't mean that it's worse or better. It just means that it has changed. And so learning to value those things is really imperative so you can have the greatest perspective of the game. It don't matter how old the game gets. This era mattered for now, and it's pertinent to where it's going to get to, and that matters.
No, I get what y'all saying. I wholeheartedly understand, because even though, like I said, I agree with Dante saying, because I saw here we do got a lot of ignorance. But I feel like on the flip side, not saying you I'm talking about in general, on the whole old people side, there's a lot of ignorance on that side though. And I feel like, and that's what I say, I feel like it goes both ways. It just depends on who you're talking to, and it needs a medium on it, if you get what I'm saying. Like, that's my main issue. Like, because the same way you might be saying I'm wilding for saying Saquon Barkley's better than Gale Sayers, I know people who think Michael Irvin's better than Antonio Brown. I think that's bullshit. I think that's flat out bullshit. So it's like,
I mean, it's perspectives and opinions. Here's where I go, because I'm 46, so I'm born at the end of the 70s. I lived the eras we talking about. I made it to the NFL. I played 11 Hall of Fame career years up in the Canadian Football League. Some of these guys we talking about, I have experience with. Like, a lot of people don't talk about Andre Rison. He was a motherfucker.
Right. Ooh. Yeah. People don't even remember him.
I covered him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Chad, listen, I'm gonna put Chad Johnson in my top 5 receivers based on, dude, coming out of Oregon State, because I played against him and I trained with him. Wasn't nobody stopping that man. I'm gonna just keep it 100 with you. Like, when I be talking with some real receipts. But I don't like to, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm just saying, when I speak on this type of shit, I have some real insight to it. So that's why when my opinion comes, I'm a little more adamant about certain things. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because I seen this shit. Like Marvin Harrison Sr., I seen it live, direct, in person. Reggie Wayne, I seen it in person. I covered it. So
let me ask you a question. So when you say your top five of receivers that you have covered, or top 5 of the whole game ever?
Just who I like, because
Okay.
I think route running, in and out of breaks,
the goal.
There's not a lot better.
It's the goal.
Chad is him. And all them guys you talking about, Trent, right? They on a YouTube video in Florida training with him.
Facts. Chad the GOAT route runner.
This is when I knew Chad was
you can just watch it and see that he's on.
He's the greatest route runner ever. Sure.
Trent, this is why I was rocking.
The greatest route runner ever, but
I'm not gonna say ever.
Gonna lie. You ain't gotta say ever, because Jerry Rice do exist, but this is why I rock with. This is why I rock with Chad Johnson. I saw Chad Johnson run routes full speed without having to pump his arms and break down.
His breaks.
That is so unique, Marsh. You know this. When you playing DB and when you finally get a hand on him, when you got a guy that can still run full speed and break without having to, you know what I mean, give a cue for you to break. Like, bro, it's it's some serious. And I know he was joking, but he was also for real. When
Yeah.
Sauce was talking about something, I can lock him up. All you got to do is get a hand on him. I was like, bro, that shit is easier said than done, Sauce.
Right.
You is tripping.
To put this into perspective real quick, and then we can move on. Sam Madison and Pat Surtain Sr. was a phenomenal duo in Miami.
Hey, shout out. Sorry. It ain't too many times I can say this. I went to high school with Pat Surtain Sr. Literally, he was my high school quarterback.
Wow. Whoa, that's tough.
Now, real shit. Him and Sam Madison, when we talking about tandems, Dale Carter, James Hasty, like them dudes was up at the top. You know,
Chase to get them work.
Who was my rookie year? We played Al Harris was the nickel. It was Bobby Taylor and
you know Bobby Taylor?
Troy Vincent. This my rookie year.
Where I know.
They were at Philadelphia. And Al Harris, this how crazy this is. Al Harris was the third guy.
Damn.
You get what I'm saying? So, but Chad used to get busy on Sam Madison and Pat Surtain Sr.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, I know we shoot the shit and we be trolling and shit, but on a serious note, bruh, some of the young cats don't have a clue. Like, you got real technicians back in the day. Like Jerry was going against Hall of Fame technicians. You know what I'm saying? So to me, and this is my personal opinion, because also I've been coaching junior college football for the last decade. I coached the NFLPA College All-Star game for 3 years in a row. I was on the staff with Rob Woodson, Darryl Green, Marvin Harris. I mean, who was our head coach? Marvin that coached in Cincinnati. I coached on his staff for 2 years. We had Cardinal Lake. We had all type of dudes. These guys are real dudes. So I'm looking at the game from how it was like 90s, early 2000s. The technique was a lot better. I feel like when guys recruit guys now, they're focusing on winning. They're not really developing no more. Development, even at the quarterback position, at all these positions, these young guys is trying to rely on athletic ability. That's why that's the only thing I disregard when y'all make them statements. Oh, well, he's bigger, faster, stronger. Y'all think people didn't run 4.3 back in the day?
Right.
My point is this. Yes, there's more 4.3s now. It's more common now. Why? Because of guys like myself. We training people. When I came up, it wasn't no trainers. You went to the goddamn rec center. It was drunk daddies and dope dealers training you.
Yeah, that's the biggest difference.
Am I telling a lie?
No, that's the biggest difference.
No.
So
that is the biggest difference, is the amount of games and the amount of time that these guys put in youth football compared to what they did back then. That's why I feel like that's why it's more common that guys run 4.3, 4.4, because guys are put in positions to actually do that more than they were back then.
Well, it's a combination. I
just feel like there's just more numbers in youth football in the whole thing. And there's more games being played per year.
It's a combination of things, though.
No,
because
there definitely was that back then. I'm not saying there wasn't. Like,
it's not as much as the collision sport as it was back then. So, like, when Bama was talking about the running back position, like, listen, the reality of it is when people are like, yeah, this running back has to pass a physical, man, that's just only part of the battle. This running back has to survive collision throughout this whole season. And backs aren't doing that anymore. These backs are not sustaining realistically, these football players are not sustaining Hall of Fame careers and being able to stay healthy, because we really need to talk about, were they tougher back in the day? We really got to talk about that, bro. Look at these injuries, bro. They cannot even play. They popping ACLs and MCLs and all of these injuries that's keeping them out for the rest of the year, and they don't return the same. That's the reason why when you evaluate, like, for instance, a Saquon Barkley, yeah, he looked nice, but just like Bo Jackson, bro, he playing the running back position, collision. Tomorrow may be the end of his career, and that's real.
I mean, Mark, well,
I mean, you can say that to any player, though.
Yeah, but that don't mean Bo Jackson's better than Saquon. Like, I get what you're saying, but it's like
I ain't gonna lie. I'll take Bo Jackson 100 times out of 100 over Saquon Barkley, and I love Barkley.
yeah, if we talking about NFL,
Jackson,
I never would day in my life. I ain't gonna lie. Never would
I disagree with that too.
But that's fine because you weren't born yet. You didn't see it. I'm telling you.
I've seen Bo Jackson. I've seen.
No. It's a difference when you watching YouTube and we saw it real time. So that Penny made the whole statement last show and it was very well put together the way he stated it. You guys got to understand. It's easy for you to look at the shit and be so quick to dismiss it. I'm telling you this, and this is because I fucks with you, right? That's why I preface this statement by saying it's not a us against y'all thing the way people make it seem. It's not like that. I fucks with the young cats. I'm a coach. I train. I'm a teacher. I'm a professor. I'm around young people all day long. I love it. I help them get better. My point is, you have to understand. The difference is the games are soft as fuck now. They're way softer. The Pro Bowl used to actually mean something. And it turned in the flag, then they threw it out. Cats don't even want to play the shit. When you talk about basketball, there was no load management. Motherfuckers playing 82 games. There is just different. I'm not saying that y'all shit is trash. That's not what I'm saying. But there's levels to this shit.
Right.
It's just like, okay, Saquon Barkley's 2,000 yards isn't as impressive as OJ's because for these variables, he did the shit in 14 games, and there was nobody else in Buffalo but OJ Simpson. So you knew he was getting the ball, and he still ran it.
You knew it.
Different. That don't take nothing.
I can hear OJ more.
Would anybody have said
you talking about OJ more than Bo Jackson? I'm not tripping about that. Like,
no, I wouldn't. I would agree with that.
I understand what you're saying, but
yeah, I agree that
I feel like you put like Saquon Barkley and OJ Simpson. That's more of a common than Saquon.
No, it's not. No.
Yes, it is. For NFL wise, Saquon Barkley and OJ Simpson are more of a common than Saquon and Bo Jackson.
Hold on 1 second. Say that one more time, Trent.
Saquon Barkley and OJ Simpson is more of a conversation, like just who would you rather take in the NFL more than Saquon Barkley than Bo Jackson?
No, it's not.
I don't see why that's so bad.
Especially with the fact that he just ran for 2K.
Okay, so time out. Did y'all? Are you hearing what I just said?
Yeah, I heard.
No, Trent, listen. Time out.
Perfectly, bro.
No, I'm not. I'm teaching you something, and you getting offended, and you taking it the wrong way. I listen. Just listen, bro. You listen. You learn when you listen. Look, I'm taking Bo Jackson. I like Saquon. Okay, I want all the YNs to listen slowly. I like Saquon Barkley. Think he's phenomenal. Time out. He's phenomenal, right? But me, I'm taking a healthy Bo Jackson 100 times out of 100 over Saquon Barkley. Keyword. Ain't no how. Keyword.
Yeah.
Healthy. Now, then I double back. The only reason I brought OJ up was because the 2,000 yards. So I want you to be able to connect the dots. I'm showing you. I'm educating you on something.
Both can you educate me on something? I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
What Bo Jackson, no injuries in his prime, like peak.
He's not a top 20 running back.
How many running backs are you taking? How many? Or just where do you think he ranks the pantheon of running backs, peak wise and healthy? Like everything.
The best version of Bo Jackson.
Top 3.
I think it's not top 20.
I mean, if you think he's top 3, then you think he's better than Saquon. It doesn't make sense.
Bro,
if you think he's top 3,
no. Time out. Listen, I'm just asking.
No, I'm not.
Nah, Saquon didn't win Heisman.
Okay, so listen. A healthy Bo Jackson at Auburn in the SEC, you saw what he could do when he played football and he was healthy. Don't cut the bullshit. That's what I be talking about. Yeah. I said a healthy Bo Jackson.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. And we could do the poll like you see us killing y'all.
That's fine.
Listen. It's okay. I'm not saying, listen, all I'm saying is I'm finna tell you some real shit. A healthy Bo Jackson 100 times out of 100 times over Saquon Barkley.
Okay, so here's my thing though, because I think Bo Jackson I think there's I could have swore he played a healthy year in the league, right? Am I tripping?
No, he was playing 9 games. He played baseball, bro.
He played 9. Okay.
Bo Jackson
Because,
never ran for more than 950 yards.
To be honest, if you want to involve college, he's still not top 3. Bo Jackson was a motherfucker in college. He's not a top 3 college running back of all time.
No. You're moving the goalposts.
No, I'm not moving the goal. No.
He was just saying.
We're talking about Saquon Barkley and Bo.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley.
Listen.
Okay. So
let him rebuttal.
That's the thing. You're listen.
Confuse me. Hold on.
I'm not.
Let him rebuttal.
Top 20.
Hold on, but you
Then
can.
you saying top 3
because but look, because here's the thing though. I'm talking about in the NFL. You brought up Bo Jackson and Auburn.
What was it, Penny? What was the key word?
Hold on. All I'm saying is when you're talking about in the NFL, Saquon Barkley is in a conversation more with O.J. Simpson more than Bo Jackson.
But only because listen, no, that's not. Listen. You're moving the conversation to something else. That's not what I'm talking about. Listen.
You said healthy Bo Jackson.
Can you stop talking? Can you stop talking so I can make? Because you're not understanding what I'm saying. We're not talking about that. I don't care about the O.J. Simpson conversation because you couldn't follow what I was saying.
Did, that's how
listen. Can you stop talking, dog? I'm trying to. You ask me a question, I'm giving you the answer, and you just keep talking. That's the problem. Y'all just hear what y'all want to hear. I said a healthy keyword, a healthy Bo Jackson. Everybody heard me say that. It's all an if was a fifth. I'm taking a healthy Bo Jackson over Saquon Barkley 100 times out of 100.
Yeah, and me personally, a healthy Bo Jackson, not even top 10.
You're on drugs.
Not even top 10. We talking about the best. If we're talking about the best version of Bo Jackson, I don't know what. If we're talking about in the NFL, I don't know what. If we're talking about the best version of him, there are 10 backs that are better than him. 1,000%.
So let me just add these caveats in there because what's apparent is what B. Marsh is doing is he's encapsulating everything that happened on that team. You got to understand what was there on that team. They had Tim Brown. They had a hell of a defense. Man, they had Marcus Allen on there. For you to be able to understand who Bo Jackson was, you got to be able to see what college football was run heavy at that time, to understand, to see him come to the NFL and all those weapons, literally. They really didn't want to even give him the ball, but they had to when they saw him running over people and running away from people at the same time. So this is my point. When you go back to last show, my statement of what I made, you can't just look at the numbers and think that you're going to be able to deduce all of what it is that we're saying, because you literally had to be able to see it until you get to the point to where you can actually look at things and put it in its proper perspective and then evaluate that way. You guys, generally, this is a problem, and this was my problem when I was young. I learned now, I got a little bit of seasoning on me. Once I remove my emotion from those things, I'm able to put a proper perspective into those things. So now I can look at different eras and I don't have to water it down. If you always got to go back to a picture of something to put it in to perfect perspective, think Wilt Chamberlain. Nobody has been able to come close to his numbers. You know what I don't do what I used to do when I was younger? I don't water it down and make excuses for who he played against or when he was born in an era.
That shit matters.
I just give him his proper due, because as I know, can't nobody raise their hand and talk to God or talk to anyone and say, I want to be born now. So if you can't be born then all you can do is what you can do in the era that you're born in.
So the rebuttal to the whole Bo Jackson thing, because, bro,
is Wilt the greatest?
Hold on.
No.
Like, my pop's coaching the league, and he's my pop's in the league right now. He's a huge Bo Jackson fan. He done sat me down, talked to me, showed me. I didn't watch Bo Jackson. I'm not gonna lie for a minute. That's what I'm saying. I've watched for a minute. I think in an NFL perspective, that's just how I feel about it. I don't think he's in the top 10. Now, to go back to your point about the Wilt Chamberlain thing, Wilt was a demon. You can obviously see Wilt was a unicorn compared to who he was playing against. But it's not about like a water it down. I just think it's just being real of who he played and what they look like during the time. That's just like it's not good. I just think that's just being real about it. I don't even think it's a disrespectful.
The thing with Bo Jackson,
And it's not a diss to Wilt Chamberlain because he can't control where he played at.
Right.
But in a sense, if we're having a debate and niggas talking about some Wilt Chamberlain's better than LeBron James,
you're crazy.
Come on, bro. That's
okay. But think about Bo Jackson though. I think people have to separate the mystique of Bo Jackson as an athlete, as a totality. Him playing multiple sports and that greatness. You know, right. People have to kind of separate that versus what he did on the football field. In college, even in college, right? I think he's probably the 5th greatest running back in college history. Right. So right off the bat, if he's 5th overall in college in my list, and the NFL, because of injuries, we understand that he never got to showcase what he really could have been. To say he's a top 3, top 10 running back, it's almost ridiculous. And to no fault of his own, in the sense that he never got to show. It's kind of like Len Bias. Len Bias passed away. Could he have been a top 5, top 10 player all the time? Right. Maybe, based on what he saw. But even in college, if we list off the running backs, he was not better than Barry Sanders in college. Herschel Walker played in the similar era to him. He was not better than Herschel Walker. Tony
Stop right now. Let me finish.
Let him finish. Marsh, let him finish. Let him finish his tape.
Tony Dorsett, who played in the early 70s, he was better in college. Archie Griffin, if you really want to go back to Ohio State, those days, it's similar, early 70s. He's better than Bo Jackson in college. I got Bo Jackson after those guys. So if you look at these running backs in college being better than him, and in the NFL, again, it's not his fault. You can name 10, 20, 30 guys who did more than the NFL. You can name 30 guys better than him. Right? It's kind of like that Marcus Dupree documentary, right? Everyone's
it's not.
Could he have been one of the GOATs?
What was the key word? Healthy. You saw what he did in 9 games after playing baseball.
And that's not better than
so I'm saying, yes, you motherfucking right. If I think, yes, could he be in the conversation?
Definitely. If that's a caveat, then I can't be. There's a lot of ifs. I've seen a lot of guys.
But we listen. We said that. This is what I'm saying. Y'all running.
Like if you drop Randy Moss in the 80s, he becomes Jerry Rice. Numbers wise.
All right, 1 second. 1 second. Before I make my point, and move on, I want to hear from F. Dot and Mike. What you think about this, F. Dot?
I kind of see both sides. I see both sides. I'm leaning kind of towards the young niggas personally. I feel like era matters, bro. Like it matters at the end of the day. Where you play matters. Competition matters, but at the same time, you still gotta respect their era because again, we can't choose where we're from, where we was born. If you was that guy in that era, you was that guy. But again, we gotta look at the skill set, and when we're comparing them to certain people, it's just like I don't know. Saquon, comparing Saquon to Bo Jackson. I don't know. Like it's not that far fetched to say Saquon is better than Bo. I'm not gonna say and be like. I'm not gonna say and be like Bo isn't or Saquon isn't. It's just it's real comparable. You can have those debates and combos. I don't think it's far fetched to have that. So that's kind of
the argument is Bo could be a top 5 athlete of all time in terms of what he did in multiple sports.
He could be a top 5 running back, and he could be a top 5 running back.
The argument was with a healthy Bo Jackson. That was always the argument with a healthy. We didn't do the magical thing. The only magical thing is healthy. We know that his career wasn't.
I think what Trent's saying,
if he's healthy in the same era, what would that look like? Where the issue is, you guys weren't able there to make a proper deductive reasoning. You weren't.
I got a question. So if you watch a bunch of Bo Jackson's tape, like what Trent said, his pop sat him down. He watched a whole bunch of Bo Jackson tape. He can't have a opinion just because he didn't see it live. Like he can't have
a difference. I didn't say he couldn't have an opinion,
but like y'all don't respect his opinion. Y'all don't respect his perspective.
No, nobody said that.
I'm asking.
No, let me answer this, B. Marsh. I was in the Bay Area during that time. Okay. So I used to watch every 49ers game and every Raiders game, right? This is the piece of the perspective that you don't know, right? I'm in that area. I'm hearing and literally seeing the buzz. I was in 89 during the 89 earthquake during the World Series.
Yes, sir.
Right? So where the difference is that you're missing is if you didn't watch and understand the game and to see how literal defenses change according to Bo Jackson, you're missing a big piece. Those are all of the things that you're missing. You're missing reading the newspaper. You're missing reading the magazines. You're missing watching the news and having them break down Bo Jackson. It's not the same thing as just looking at some clips, believing that you can encapsulate everything. That's ridiculous.
Look, I do agree with the idea of what you're saying of looking at sports athletes from the past through the lens of today is problematic, right? It's obviously in a lot of ways not fair for sure. But I do think if you're able to look back, you also take some of the emotion out of it. But like you said, watching it live, reading the news articles, TV, and all that, there's a bit of an emotional attachment to that player.
It's not
Every generation. I think every
It's
generation goes through
emotional
though. Every
attachment.
generation
Definitely
has
emotional.
emotional. Have kind of attachment.
I don't have emotional attachment because I'm in it. I played, I coach, I train. So I'm an open mind guy with this shit. I'm telling you. I didn't say here's the thing. Nobody said Saquon was Trey. I said I opened up. I said I love him. He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. It's like I played against Ricky Williams, the Heisman Trophy winner. He was everything they said he was and some more.
Right.
I'm telling you. So that's all I'm saying. What I'm telling you is what Penny said last time. You can't dismiss it when we've been able to see both live in real time. So I think we have a better eye to compare it than you because you didn't get to see that one. You're watching YouTube and shit. I seen it live then, and I'm seeing it live now, and I'm
Right.
like, okay, all right. Oh, he a dog. He could play in any era. That's a dog. So I'm not bashing the younger guys. I'm saying these conversations are good because you can get education. I've talked to so many youngsters and they don't even know who these guys are. And some of these guys were really like that. But since they didn't see it, once again, I had one of my students tell me that Odell Beckham was better than Jerry Rice. I ran out the gym.
Yeah.
I get that's every OG.
Yeah,
you talk to someone who's 75, they might say Don Hudson's the GOAT.
Hey, yeah, I done heard people say
it's a
Terry
generation.
Bradshaw's better than Aaron Rodgers. Like I didn't in the same opposite round.
We've heard young people say Don Hudson's the GOAT.
I say I didn't like
Yeah.
just like how you just that's why I say it goes both ways. Just like how you said, yeah, when someone you said Odell better than Jerry Rice, of course you're gonna walk out the room there. That shit's crazy. On the flip side, I done heard people say, oh yeah, what's his name? Yeah, Terry Bradshaw's better than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We're not serious.
I've never heard that though.
I mean,
Not,
but
Mike, what you think?
I've never heard somebody
out
say
there.
Odell better than Jerry Rice though. Like,
I've never, yeah. I think that, but
never
as
heard that
far
one
as
before.
my opinion on like the debate itself, I think that there's definitely situations where I agree. I think like especially with Jerry Rice and like Randy Moss, if you look into them particularly, like for me, it's hard to argue in certain categories that Jerry Rice was better than Randy because he wasn't when you're talking about as like a deep threat and stuff. But I do think what Jerry did at his time, the stats that he accumulated and just how good he was. And we're talking about a guy who was very, very skilled. We're talking as a route runner, hands. He still had a lot of great attributes too. So I think in situations like that, I do agree. I think broadly though, I try to keep it balanced. I think I agree with the idea that it was definitely harder at that time, more physical, things like that. But if I'm going to use that reasoning for every single player, then I feel like it would slant towards like there would just be a lot of the older generation a lot higher than the young generation. And I don't particularly think that that's wrong. I think that I'm just going to base it off who I think is the better player at the time. And I think I do use context to it as well. But
well, remember also, you also missing a key component. Jerry Rice was so great. He was starting. He was the beginning of the wide receiver gaining more freedom. He still wasn't as free to play as these wide receivers today. He still had to deal with Tom Rathman and Roger Craig and Ricky Waters and them. Like, you guys are missing so much context about these things because, again, you're just looking at an encapsulation. But when you understand how the game evolved, and then that's what I'm saying, you can then transpose a Jerry Rice into this era and look at his production. If he was free to play the way that he was able that he's able to play, our wide receivers are able to play today, oh my gosh. And when people talk about the greatest wide receivers, I don't know why people just love to just skip over T.O., skip Randy Moss over T.O.
They in the combo. I feel like everyone has Jerry Rice, T.O., Moss, Calvin Johnson.
Those are your
But
top three. You always
to
carry
your
those top
to
Yeah.
your point though, to
Yeah,
your
Randy-
point,
Randy
I just want to make this clear. Jerry Rice played more his career in the 90s than he did in the 80s. So we got to stop that fake narrative bullshit. He was going against all these dog ass DBs. I had an idiot on one of our posts. This is how crazy social media and technology has made things, right? He gonna say the only corner Hall of Fame corner at that time was Deion. I just named about 5 of them, and there were more.
And I think like the top 3 to top 5 of that generation can compare with
It's way better than certain guys. Certain guys, listen. Certain guys can play. Certain guys, yes. Certain guys can play in any era. Certain guys.
If you keep it a buck, and we had a whole talk about this era shit again, because again, Randy and T.O. are not considered at all nowhere near a 90s receiver. That's not like if you literally say we'll put them in a right perspective. When you put them in a right perspective, Mike, when you put Randy and T.O. where they are really 2000 receivers, the wide receivers
with that conversation.
You know what you're doing? You're trying to move something to go.
I'm be honest with you.
No, watch this. Penny. Hold on. I'm gonna ask a question. Let me ask a question. Penny. Penny. I'm 46, right?
Yeah.
So my draft year was 2001. Terrell Owens and Randy Moss is older than me.
I know.
So they're my era. They were playing they grew up playing 90s football.
Right.
We're talking about high school, college. They were knee deep in the early 90s. They got in the league. Well, T.O. was in the league at what, 96? 95? He was that's the 90s.
I'm gonna explain this.
Ain't no explain it. So
no, because you're
not
hearing me when I say this.
There you would have
When I say that Randy Moss and T.O. are really 2000s receivers, I'm talking about, did T.O. get drafted in 96? Cool, fine. Terrell Owens became Terrell Owens, had his Hall of Fame career in the 2000s. Randy Moss got drafted. Oh, I'm not done. Don't cut me off. Randy Moss got drafted in 98.
You moving the goalposts.
It's not.
Why you think Jerry Rice? How you think Jerry Rice ended up at the Raiders?
Hold on.
How you think Jerry Rice ended up at the Raiders?
Finish up. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Finish.
You just be
the
moving
point,
shit.
and then
It's not your era.
It's not. I'm moving the goalposts. All of these
you
guys.
are.
So Champ Bailey, Charles Woodson, Randy Moss, T.O. All 4 of these guys got drafted in the late 90s. They all had their Hall of Fame careers in the 2000s. They became who they became.
That has nothing to do with anything.
How does that not prove
that's the
anything?
same
Okay, listen. I'm about to answer your question. You sound crazy. Listen, them dudes is older than me.
I don't give a fuck.
Listen, you're not listening.
No,
that's the problem. You're making a dumbass argument. It has nothing to do. You weren't born. You weren't even born. You just talking.
Hold on 1 second. I think what it is, what Trent is saying. So, Marsh, y'all comparing two.
They was who they are. They was destined to be that, no matter what.
No.
Charles Woodson won the Heisman. He's the best DB to ever play college football. What are you talking about?
Two things can be true, though, Marsh. Yes, that is true. But what you
them dudes come from.
Hold on, let me make sense
of it. This is what I'm saying, man.
Them
dudes came up under that era. They played. To get to where they got, they came through that.
I get what you. But look, this is what Trent. Hold on. 1 second. This is what Trent's saying, though. This is what Trent's saying. Now, March, them growing up, Little League, all of that shit up to high school, 90s. Yes, they did come up in the 90s. But what Trent is talking about and what we talk about is the NFL. And if you factor in the NFL only, just the NFL. He got a valid point. Champ Bailey,
was Charles Woodson defensive rookie of the year?
That's fine. In 98, that doesn't mean you're a part
of the Why are you so obsessed? I know what you're doing. You're so obsessed because you're trying to make it harder. You weren't even born.
Let me ask you this. Hold on 1 second, Trent. I got you.
I'm about to eat through the whole combo. I got a point.
Wait,
both y'all consider them 90s. So if you take out Champ Bailey's, Charles Woodson, Randy Moss, T.O., you take out all their 2000s career. What they did in 2000s, are they Hall of Famers?
It don't matter. They still 90s guys. What are you
But like,
talking about?
okay, OG, I have a
It
question.
don't matter. You trying to move the
Don't
goalpost.
matter.
Wait, I have a
It
question.
don't matter.
If you take out their career in the 2000s, they're not Hall of Famers.
But like,
If you
not-
take
no
that, if you
conversation.
take that, listen,
but like,
You're not-
that's
no
not what we
conversation,
talking
bro.
about. That's
Wait,
not
you
what
just-
we even talking about.
Wait,
Okay,
my
hold
thing
on.
is
Let me
though,
explain.
you just
Because
said
maybe
you
you're
just
not
said
hearing
for
me.
Jerry. Wait, you just said
Bailey.
for you just said Jerry
not
is part of the
understanding.
'90s, but you
This
said
nigga's not
Jerry's part of the
understanding.
'90s, right? Even though he played
Yeah.
and he
Jerry
started
played to
steering-
2003, damn near.
No,
But what
I-
he
was he
started in the
considered?
80s.
but-
What
Hold
type
on,
of
why your-
what was he
Look,
By
considered?
your metric though,
Maybe,
why
look, I'm
your
explaining,
metric
right?
though,
Because, look,
Jerry's
you said
supposed to be an 80s receiver though.
Jerry will be '80s by
Bam,
your
I'm
metric.
explaining
If
to you, right?
they're
Watch it,
90s.
right? Look.
He's
That's
both.
look,
He was an all-decade 90s player
Let's
too.
bring
What
up.
are you
Hold on.
talking
Let's bring up Champ. Let's bring up Champ Bailey, right? Who
He only played
drafted
1 year in the
99.
90s.
Look, Bama. Let's bring up Champ Bailey, who they say is quote unquote 80s and 90s, right? Who got drafted in '99?
I didn't say eight.
No,
That's,
bro.
you know what?
You gotta
Listen,
think. When
listen.
No, we
draft,
talking about
I'm
the
not
draft.
listen.
We
Time out.
talking
Time
about
out.
the
Down
draft.
to talking about the
Time out.
draft.
I'm
no,
not talking.
saying-
We did that show. I'm moving on because I'm
Right.
not going to argue with no little
Why
kids.
we still doing this? We done with
I'm
that.
just,
We
no,
get it.
yeah, because I don't understand what errors are.
Done with it.
I don't
We
understand.
done with it. I'm
So
done.
this is
with it.
what this is what I want to say. All right. Before we get up off of this and move on, this is what I want to say. So this goes into both of it. So say hypothetically, I play in a weaker era, right? What we like the era text.
Mhm.
But based off statisticals, right? NBA had 415 players back in the 60s, just like the NFL had 1,600 players back in the 60s. So if we doing it based off a census population, these are the top 1,600 and the top 400 athletes in the United States or the world at that time, right? If I dominate my pool of superior athletes, regardless of what time I'm in, if I dominate them in that time, that has to hold some type of merit of me being a phenomenal athlete. Now you got to go and take my stats of what I did dominating, whether it was the 60s, 20s, whatever. I say this, I draw the line at before segregation. Like if there were no black athletes in the league, I'm not worried about you. So now when we talk about 50s, 60s, 70s, like it was black athletes in those eras, bro. So if you take somebody like a Gale Sayers, Jim Brown, whoever you want to take, bro, and they dominated those guys, Jerry Rice, for instance, if he was able to dominate those guys, but we in a more pass happy era now, and these guys still can't dominate like Jerry Rice, you have to, at some point, you have to go back in time and look at these guys like Wilt, look at these guys like Jim Brown, look at these guys and be like, hey, bro, they're just phenomenal athletes, regardless of what time era you put them in, because they was able to dominate. Trent, for instance, you became a 4-star tight end. It was shit you did catching the ball that I got the same opportunities as you, but I didn't do what you did. So by that metric, bro, we have to look at you and just be like, hey, Trent is just better than Bama because we got the same opportunities, but with your opportunity, you made it look a lot easier than what I did with my opportunity. Now, we was able to play at the same level, right? But when you got your opportunities at that level, you made it look a lot easier. Even though we may have played the same competition, may have made it to the same distance for as longevity or whatever the case may be. But if you're dominating your competition, bro, regardless of what era it is, we know this, Trent. You know this, bro. It's grown men right now can't go and run for 1,000 yards playing against little league kids. Like, so the fact that they was able to do it against plumbers, bro, it's cats that just can't do it in general, bro. So I gotta be like, hold on. Even though these are plumbers, this dude right here just good, because if you can say with plumbers, they had sorry cleats, sorry helmets, sorry equipment. Now we give them speed flexes, F7s, light cleats, lightweight, everything, bro. You gotta factor that in of the resources they're gonna have today. So instead of what Marsh is talking about, instead of them training with the drunk on the corner, he's training with a D Marsh now. He's training with a footwork king now. He's training with route god now. Like, instead of them having just to run heels or go based off of just, I just know this because I'm the first one. Now I can go over here. Hey, bro, let me go fly out to California and train with these group of cats real quick. Oh, shit. Let me go over here to New York. I hear some train over here in New York. I'm finna go over here to New York. it was no athletes back in the 70s and 80s talking about spending $1 million on your body. Like what LeBron does, like that was unheard of. Imagine if those guys knew about that. Imagine what if Michael Jordan knew about that. You know what I mean? Like you could always nitpick and be like, hey, well, these dudes were sorry, but I'd be like, well, what if these dudes had the same resources these guys have today? So that's where I can feel where the old heads coming from. You see what I'm saying? Because if you just able to dominate your competition, that should hold as much merit as it needs to hold, because it's guys that can't dominate their competition at all. So I can't scratch a guy because he dominated, like Penny said. If Wilt Chamberlain was just in his, hey man, drop me off in the 60s, brother. Like I feel that. Like if he was just up there before he was born, as hey, drop me off in the 60s. I don't want to deal with them dudes in the 2020s. I would feel y'all, but can't nobody control when they born. You can only control what you do when you are born. And those
certain guys playing there's guys that it don't matter. This is what I'm saying. The guys that we talking about, the guys that we have talked about on these podcasts, they could play in any era. Like you can't say,
I agree.
Dude, you can't say they will be getting fucking busy. I'm telling you, because they were doing the shit that people doing today back then.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, Trent. When I was doing them clips, that clip I showed to Jim Brown, bro, I ain't gonna lie, boy. I had to watch that shit like 30 times. The nigga spent off somebody, truck. After he trucked out the spin, then hit like the Reggie Bush sidestep out of nowhere, like where he fell almost. Like, I'm like, the fact that in the 50s and 60s he is running like this, bro. That's a headache. That is going to be a headache today.
Did you see the type of helmets they had back in the 50s and 60s? Did you see the helmets they had?
Nah, for sure.
That's why I respect Jim Brown.
For sure.
I just don't rank that era, period. I just don't rank that era, period.
That's what I will say this though. Now, March, Trent ain't one of them, because Trent did say Jerry Rice was moving like how they moved today in the past. So that show he like actually watched them. Like it's some athletes, Penny, Marsh, you can like look and be like, well, shit, they'll pull that off today. Like, you feel me? Now it's some athletes to where you'll be like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
But see,
like,
that's why
Jim Taylor
heralded.
I don't know. You feel me? Like,
but that's why I've always heralded.
I don't
understand.
3-point stands.
I don't know why people feel so entitled to believe that just what they're seeing, this makes them the greatest ever. I don't believe that they're the greatest ever, man. I mean, let's just be real. Let's put it into perspective, bro. If, for instance, basketball, let's go back to basketball, because if you look at Wilt Chamberlain's stats, bro, it's some video game stats that people play video games and still can't get his stats. That is unbelievable.
The playoff dropping is crazy, though. The playoff drop is iconic, too. He drops as a playoff performer. He drops more than anybody in NBA history, too. So it goes both ways. His regular season stats amazing, but his playoff drop is literally the most in NBA history. But that matters, too. But I hear
but when you even look at that, okay, what happened? That means he's playing a team like Boston. Okay, what did Boston do? Boston was able to create a whole team that were Wilt stoppers. A whole team.
They were just a better team overall. Yeah, they just had more talent than Wilt's teams. Yeah, they were just.
Yeah, but they were picked because they were like, "Hey, we need you to do these 20 things to stop Wilt."
I want to say nobody stopped Wilt. Wilt still gave him like 38 and 20 on Bill Russell and all the boys. Right?
They stopped him to only 2 championships. That's what I mean by stop.
Team, yeah, I hear
two things could be true at the same time. That's all I'm saying. Like, you can't say some of that ignorant shit because we saw the shit in real time. Like I said, I know what I saw, and I played and I seen, and I can measure him up to people that I played with or against. A healthy Bo Jackson was gonna give a lot of motherfuckers problems if he concentrated. And like I said, it's only if we don't know, but based on what he showed in 9 fucking games after playing Major League Baseball, give him a full focus on football and a healthy career. Yes, we talking about him in the top 5.
People forget, like, when that Marcus DePay documentary dropped, for like about a month straight, people swore he would have been the GOAT. Like, there was a lot of conversation. Suddenly, everyone was a Marcus DePay expert. Yeah, like, it's just one of those things where I feel like it's trendy with some of these things. I do. At the end of the day, though, comparing eras, is, and look, I
It's
actually
tough. Comparing eras is
the
tough.
smartest thing Michael Jordan ever said is comparing eras is stupid. He literally said comparing
Facts.
eras, because the differences, technology, game, teams, all that. Like it is
All
for
that.
shows like
Right.
this, it's cool, right? It's fun, but the reality is we're comparing an athlete in 2020 versus someone in
Right.
1950s, 60s. It is stupid, like
Right.
legitimately. Like it's just
Talking
you'll
about-
never come to
talking
a
about
proper consensus.
the 50s
Yeah.
and 60s. So let me. It's gonna kind of reiterate what you said, man. I'm not comparing motherfuckers from the modern era to the 50s and 60s per se. Now, two things can be true at the same time. There's a certain guys. Gale Sayers was Barry Sanders before Barry Sanders. Then he was Barry.
Right.
We all could. Y'all didn't have. I wasn't born yet, but when I saw that shit, I
Right.
was like, damn, he looked like Barry before Barry. This shit
Right.
he was doing. So, and y'all got to remember, they didn't have all these pussy ass rules. So you could fucking throw elbows at a face. You could trip.
Oh my God, Night Train Lane with.
Oh,
Oh,
and it was so much
That's
shit
why
going.
he'll get kicked out the league.
But man, that's why playing corner is harder today
Well,
than back then, though.
That now I will say that that's true.
Night and day, though.
I'ma
Like, it's not even close. Like,
I'm gonna say this: it's
That's
harder.
why it's hard to rate Mel Blount because he was.
It's
like,
harder to play DB today, but I don't think the DBs are technically better. There's a handful that are like I love Denzel Ward. I love Pat Surtain Jr. I love the kid in Houston, Stingley. There's a good group of, but I don't think it's like better. Like I can show. I watched Jalen Ramsey. I know the young cats swear up and down. He's the guy.
I'll say this though, Trent. I'll say this though. They kind of might be right because this is what I say about that. Athletically, they are better, but fundamentals, they not. Because I can show you a lot of times on tape, DBs of today, it just looked like they just be doing whatever the fuck they want to do. Like, for instance, you had Devontae Adams getting guarded on the goal line. He was playing against Detroit. I can't remember the cornerback, but it wasn't like a super good corner. But we know on the goal line, you deny the inside, right?
Yeah.
The first thing he do is when Devontae Adams hit him with the he gives him the inside, bro. It's like, bro, I feel you. I understand. Devontae Adams is, but still though, Trent, your technique should always tell you, bro. Like, I don't give a fuck what move he give me. I'm gonna give him the fade. We on the goal line, bro. Like, I know I can squeeze that. Like, worst come to worst, I can squeeze that, bro. So right now, I'm supposed to deny the inside. Now, granted, I don't know what defense is called because sometimes they do give up the inside because
they have a bracket. They might have a bracket.
But I didn't see a bracket. From what I saw, he was matched up with him one-on-one. And when Devontae opened up like that, he bit on the first move Devontae gave him, and he gave him up inside. Like, it's just sometimes, bro.
I mean, it depends,
some of
though.
these DBs just do what they want, though.
Tay is one of the best 5 route runners to ever play the game. So I mean, it just depends on. I gotta see the clip too. Who he's talking about too?
That's true.
I think DBs give the inside if it's a bad.
I definitely think the modern era of the corners are definitely better than.
Yeah, it's tough.
I think the dudes in the back of the day was more fundamentally sound, bro. I feel like
I don't know about that, bro.
If you put them today, it'll be a lot more tougher catches that'll have to be made today because a lot of the times these dudes be trying to bait quarterbacks for picks. Back in the day, bro, they wasn't baiting, bro. Like, I'm finna guard this nigga. Like, it's just plain and simple. I'm not finna bait. I'm finna guard him. But in the NFL, they value. Yeah, you got cats like Cooper DeJean and them. They really guard. Like, but
I'm talking about
the ones that we know about, the ones that get picks though. Like, think about this. The ones we know about is the ones that get picks. Like Trayvon Diggs gave up 1,083 yards, bro, and he got 11 picks. And we talk about him as the best. And granted,
I don't
play off. He play off, man. He play off, man. I granted.
I don't even think he was top 10. But I mean, I'm talking about like also like in the like Gillian his prime is one of the most technically sound corners ever. Patrick Pierce is one of the most technically sound corners ever. Even again, Champ Bailey, really for real, and Darrell Revis, like if not Darrell Revis, probably damn near might be the most technical sound corner. Like nigga, that's in our time. And I think if you compare it as a combined bunch as a whole, I think we have the better DBs.
Do you think Revis is more technically sound than Deion Sanders?
Probably not, bro. Whoa, okay. Dion is way more athletic. That's what.
Yeah,
that's
Dion
what makes
had much more
Dion
athleticism.
Dion could cover up his
Yeah.
mistake because of his athleticism.
like yeah,
He
like
wasn't
okay.
Dion-
100%.
that's
Penny,
what
yeah.
makes that's what makes Dion.
Now Penny,
Dion-
Penny,
Dion
I'm
was
sorry
talking
though.
about
And I
technically
will say
sound.
this: technically sound. I think Reeves is more technically sound than Dion because
because
all the dudes talked about this. Even Darius Slay, all pro corner, bro, just won the Super Bowl. He said Dion gets away with a lot of stuff that Slay said this. This nigga's a top cornerback in the NFL. He said Dion gets away with a lot of stuff that they necessarily can't get with because we talking about the T-step versus the back pedal, right?
Yep.
Bicycle. All of them dudes talk about I can do the bicycle sometimes, but 80% of the time I got to do the T-step because they're not Dion. I can't.
Right.
Which
But-
means
but-
they've tried this. You know, NFL players, they've tried. So
But bam,
I feel like Dion
you
can
don't
do
have to
a
be
lot
Dion.
more than the
You don't
average
have
man.
to. You don't have to be Dion to do a road runner break. That's all I ever did. T-step was taught to us as the way the T-step was taught to me. It was when you played on wet surfaces because you got more foot area to stop instead of sliding. I always had quick feet. Darryl Green do road runner. I mean, a lot of DBs road runner. At the end of the day, when you have good feet, you're gonna T-step, you're gonna road runner. You just do it. It's just natural. When you get ready to break on the ball, you don't know how you gonna step. You just go. You try. The thing is going from a back pedal to a full out sprint, right? You're gonna T-step sometime because you're gonna be. For example, if you're running at me and I'm playing off, and you taking me you give me a post. You give me a post, right? And let's say you break it off to a dig. You run a post dig. I'm gonna turn and open and run, crossover run with the post. Now, when you sit it down and run the dig, I'm not gonna be able to bicycle or road runner at that point because I'm sideways. I just got to get out of there. So I don't think that's so much a thing, really, for real. I just think when you talk about the guys that a lot of these young guys learn the shit from, it's from those guys. Rod Woodson is very well in the conversation to challenge for that top spot. He had 71 picks. He had world-class speed. He's 6'2". He was like that. Yeah. I don't think people talk about Rod enough, even though he's a Hall of Famer. He did it at 3 positions.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys, and he would tackle your ass.
That's something you and Early would actually agree on. That's actually something you and Early would agree on. That's interesting.
Yeah, Rod was like that.
You didn't bring that. Early would love that.
I say Rod
was a big Rod guy.
So this is what I want to get into next subject because the show ain't gonna be that long, but this is what I want to get into. Y'all see the NCAA has approved to allow the schools to pay their athletes now. The salary cap is 20 million. So the football team, so it'll be a salary cap of 20 million, and then they build a roster with 20 million. We'll start F. Go over. How y'all feel about this, man? And I definitely want to hear Trent because Trent is the original NIL baby. NIL started when he first declared to go play in college football. But F. Start us off, man.
This is a tough subject because I want the players to get paid, but I think they're turning this into a complete business. I don't like it. I think at the end of the day, this is college. You're there to go to school, play football, but making it a whole like, okay, $20 million and this what we go like building this whole team now. I don't know. It feels wrong. It feels wrong that we making the kids doing that, man. I don't know. I don't like it. I think they're not going. I think they're not hungry. I think it's just a lot. It's a lot. It's just it's bad. It's bad. I don't even know. It's bad.
So you don't want them getting paid at all?
No, of course getting paid, but like they're making it more of a like. It just seems like a little NFL league, but college. I don't know. It's supposed to be. I don't know.
Yeah, it was always a business. See,
of course,
people don't understand.
Because I got some of that. I feel passionate about this.
Let Michael go. Let Michael go.
Real quick. I think.
Let me say this.
I think what F-Dog was saying was pretty on par, but I'm gonna expand on it. I just think, yes, it was the right decision to find a way to pay players, get them some sort of income, because the stories that you heard prior to that about how dudes are struggling to like pay for food, all that shouldn't be happening because of the amount of money that colleges are receiving from these players, but at the same time, it's classic just big company thing. Like to me, like they've opened the door and just pushed so far through to where now it's like becoming a problem. And I think doing this, there's ways that you can manage it. I feel like that eventually through time, things will probably figure itself out. I think these first couple of years are going to be interesting to see how players react, how coaches react, how teams react. It's definitely an interesting thing. But I just think some of these players that I've been seeing, I feel like it's just an issue of how developed are they going to be? Are they going to be actually trying to develop to become NFL players? Or are they trying to go and get the most money possible? And I think when you look back at some players that have been successful in the NFL, some guys don't go to the top tier. They don't go to the top tier program. They go and they learn through the hard way. You look at a guy like Steve Smith went to Utah. I mean, he was on a great team, don't get me wrong, but like he didn't go there to be on the best team. That kind of just like happened with Urban Meyer and all that stuff. And I just think personally that's the biggest thing to me. Like a lot of these players are 22, 23 years old coming to the league, 21 years old. You don't have time to develop in the league. You have to be ready for the pro game, especially quarterbacks now. You look in the situations that guys are getting put in, like you want to contend on the rookie contract. You don't want to have to develop these guys that much. So I think that's one issue with it. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is just how things change. I mean, we'll see how things change and how they try to manage it. But I feel like it'll be fine over time. But there's
And just for clarification to y'all, it's 20 to 23 million, and it's over all sports, not just football.
All
So
sports.
all sports.
That's interesting. So lots to unpack it. So first, I think athletes 100% deserve to be paid. To me, athletic sports was the only billion-dollar business in the history of the world that never paid its employees essentially, right? I've never seen any other company generate $1 billion of revenue and not have to pay someone. So that off the rip, you got to make sure people get paid. That money was going to a lot of older people and a lot of other pockets, and not the young guys who are really on the field, sacrifice their bodies in a lot of ways. So I think one, they definitely get paid. Two, I think the salary cap's a great idea. I think it would have been worse if there's no salary cap, because then I think players just kind of go into the highest bidder possible. I think that could be a little problem. But now with the salary cap, I think a lot more schools are maybe more in an even playing field. They can only allocate a certain amount of funds to a certain player if you really want to build your roster a certain way. So a quarterback might be offered 1, 2, 3 mil a season, whatever the case may be, and you kind of have to pick which program, which coaching staff, whatever that he likes, right? So I think the salary cap really helps balance it out, and it does put more importance, you could say, on the development of a player and kind of that caveat to it. But I also will say too, I can never, especially for a football athlete, I can never talk down to an athlete that's just going to choose the highest bidder. If some guy wants to give you $10 million and you're coming from, somewhere where your mother's never made more than $40,000 a year, $50,000 a year, and you're getting $10 million to play, to me, taking care of your family is going to be worth more than any NFL career. Even if you have to go to a mediocre school. You have to go to mediocre school, because let's all remember too, every player in college football is one injury away. One knee injury, and it's over. And it can happen at the random time. We've seen people tear ACLs just walking, you know what I mean? And you don't always recover the right way. Like, you're one injury away. So to all these players, you want to get the most guaranteed amount of money, especially in football where, you're getting hit all the time. So to me, I'll never bash a guy for taking the most money available. Yeah, so I actually think, again, it's the best way to do it is with the salary cap. You still kind of place importance on the school, learning the game, developing for the NFL, while also getting them paid. I mean, the idea of, giving 19, 20, 21-year-olds that amount of money, there's obviously problems in that. I think anybody, if you're 19 years old and you're giving $10 million, probably going to do a lot of stupid things. I think that falls for a lot of people, just in general, right? You're young, you give them that much money, it could be a problem. But at the end of the day, players deserve to get paid. The salary cap keeps it in control, makes it a fair playing field for all schools and players. And I think it's the best way to do it.
Man, Bama, you know me. I'm cool about that. I don't got no problem with it. It's just I think the main problem is that, you're going to have players like Nico, who was trying to get bread like right before the playoffs. I feel like that shit is whack. Like, bro, like, come on, bro. Like, it's your first year. When literally it came out that after Nico transferred or whatever because he left Tennessee, he was mad close to sitting out versus Ohio State because he wanted to get more money before the game. Like, all right, bro, you pushing it. Like, Yeah.
That's not 100% true.
Shit.
But go ahead.
It's not
I'm
100%
saying.
true, but
No,
Matt Scooter too though. 3 games in, he wanted more money. So it's like
that's the I don't have a main problem is that this is literally just how players are going to move with the money. That's just like I have no problem with this.
Go ahead, Penny.
That's
After
my main thing.
If you want to talk about Nico, I literally live in Knoxville, Tennessee. I assure you, I got more information than what you may have heard about Nico. Let's just put it this way. This is always how it works. Those who have the assets to make the story always try to make the person who's getting paid the money out to be the villain.
Yep.
But that encapsulates into my whole point. It is very, very disappointing to see a majority of people, especially black young adults, demean athletes for getting money when literally, my man said it earlier, really, football has been taking from the lowest of the low for years without any cap. And it is really wild to see people not understand the history of how we got to this game and how we got to these athletes ever even getting paid. This goes back prior to the Ed O'Bannon lawsuit. This goes back prior to all of those things. Imagine how much the Alabamas, the best historical, the SMUs, all of these programs, how many billions of dollars they have capitalized on and really didn't have to give these athletes anything. And then to see people make excuses as to why there's a cap on this. Look how many years college football has been in existence. Really, let's be realistic. Off the back of the black player. Yeah, there's going to be those anomalies, but it's been off the back of the black player and their families and their well-beings. And if they get hurt, it's over for them. They're not protected. They don't have anything. So it is really wild to see things change to where people just forget about these things. Bro, you can never forget about the history because the history created the present. Always purpose to encapsulate those things. So I don't appreciate the cap on those things because what we always see, we see lots of misusage of these players in their bodies, in their minds. CTE is still real. We don't talk about it. People who's eroded minds and still they having a hard time. The NFL still won't agree that CTE is real, even though we know it's real. We know those things are real. So I don't agree with the cap, bro. I believe these players, whatever they can bargain to get, they should be allowed to get. And just because these universities don't like the way that these players are assuming control, that's the reason why there's a cap. But it's people that don't understand the history and don't understand how this is a money game and how the universities really don't want to give up that money. That's the way we got there. The last point, well, I guess the 3 points to make. Path. Listen, everything evolves. And there's always going to be different paths. The NFL's job will always be to make these players as great as they can be and to develop them. The problem that we're running to in the NFL now is they don't want to have patience with these players. They keep trying to find these emeralds and these gems. And guess what they're going to have to do? They're going to have to actually learn how to develop these players and sit with these players so they can get to where what they want to do, or else what are they doing? They just going to keep advertising these players and keep shuffling these players and towards the middle of these players' career. That's when you're going to be able to see their great product. If as they're being talked about as being horrible and great, if they don't just take that bag and take it to the house. Last point about Nico again. It's really wild to hear people just take the words of these universities, like universities, these big businesses are really honest and they have moral control. And like they won't spin a story to change reality. Bro, just go read your books and understand big business is the opposite of truth. Your common man that comes from the communities that you come from, we're closer to being real with you than big business. It's really wild to see somebody understand how somebody talks or to read something and you to believe that that is the epitome of the truth. And that is crazy to me.
So, newsflash: college football been a business. That's one. Two, they have reaped all the benefits and rewards of all these billions of dollars. For example, my junior year, we played in the Las Vegas Bowl, right? I got a Nike sweatsuit, a Nike bag, a watch, all this shit I gave to my daddy, right? And $1,000 a per diem. I know for sure that game made way more than what they gave us. That's one. But two is only 1% make it, fellas. Y'all got to understand, everybody's not gonna get an opportunity at the next level. 99% of these dudes will. I got blessed, fortunate, and lucky that I navigated my way to playing pro football. They're not gonna make it. So yes, get a bag, because guess what? The same injury you could get in college is the same one you could get in the league. They doing the same shit. It's the same shit. I'm telling you. So if they can, and here's how they used to get us. Well, they're paying for your education. It don't cost the university no money. It's not like they got to come up with extra money to get athletes through school. They don't. So at the end of the day, football, which is the dominant sport, and basketball, they're bringing all the revenue to the university. How the hell you think they help build these buildings on campus? It ain't all coming from donors.
Mm-hmm.
It's that money that they're getting from these big time sports programs.
Yeah.
Because I know for a fact, University of Tennessee, they in the Philip Fulmer years, that motherfucker was packed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
The student body, all the ticket sales, the merchandise, all that shit. College football been a big business. So I think the cap. Here's what I'm gonna say: it's the death of college football. So as a junior college coach who recruits and all the shit, I get bounce back guys from D1s. Right? Here's the only problem with that. I'm tired of seeing these cats play for 5 different schools.
Yeah,
That's what I have a problem with, for sure.
So that's the problem I have.
Yeah.
Now with the cap and bam, I think me and you talked about this a few weeks ago. I've been said they should come with a cap, because that way, if I know as a quarterback or a premier corner, right, the most I can make is 1.5. I'm probably not going to transfer. And if I do transfer, it's going to be for the right reasons. Make sense? Because I can only make this wherever I go. So just for me being in coaching and involved in recruiting and talking to a lot of my guys that are at the D1s, right? These kids are literally playing for pay. All right, I'm gonna come to you for 1 year. There's coaches that we've had conversations. Tay, you know what? I just gotta, hey man, I'm developing him for a bigger school because I know I'm only gonna get him for 1 season. And I can't tell a kid not to go get the bag. So we're talking about, players being disenfranchised. Because just because you was great in college don't mean you're going to make it at the next level. So, yeah, you should be able to monetize that, right? Yeah. So I just have a problem kind of similar to what Penny said. Why are we being so negative towards the athlete when the business model of it, the business aspect of it has been so fucked up for so long? They're getting away with it. A coach, if I'm coaching and you give me $13 million to coach, right? Mm-hmm. And I coach there 2 years. If another school want to offer me 20, I can leave with no problems. I might have a buyout clause, but I can skip town. I can go. Why the player can't have the same mobility?
It's a lot of jealousy.
They can't go here. They can't go to these schools. It's crazy to me, bro. This is free for you to see and to understand. These coaches can quit or get fired and go anywhere, but these players can only go certain places.
Yeah, that's a
Y'all
good
not paying attention to this?
Can I say this though? I do feel you right there. Let them get paid, but I feel like the NFL is more structured for them to get paid more money. Now I agree, you get hurt playing any level of game, but I think it needs to be brackets. The reason why I think you need to be brackets to like what Dante said, right? So now I know if I can only make this, if we quarterbacks, the top tier quarterbacks can only make 2.5 or whatever.
But it's also a fake cap though, right? Because in a sense,
yeah,
the schools
it's
Because the NIL, they'll be like, I'll give you $1 million. Then they'll call him
Correct.
a booster. Hey, give him 10.
Exactly.
Sponsorship,
Of
right?
course. But this is just what the school can pay
Yeah.
them. Like the school.
Yeah.
We still got the NIL
Oh,
with guys that's
right.
on commercials because this is what you got to think about. If you look in college football last year, it was only Jalen Milroe. Who else was it? Like Arch
Okay.
Manning, Nico. What's my boy that played at Georgia? That went to Miami.
Carson Beck.
Carson Beck. It was only like 3-4 guys that was in commercials last year. That's real NIL. Those are guys that's getting millions of dollars to be. So it was only like 3-4 kids in college football last year that managed to get in a commercial. So what this is, and then that's what they talked about with Shador and Travis. They paid into the collective. The collective is the boosters, the bag holders. They put this amount of money. This is what we gonna do to get you these players. This is what Barstool Sports did over there in Michigan. I'm gonna put up $5 million so you can get the top quarterback in the country. Like that's still going to be prevalent. But this is talking about from the school standpoint of view. These kids is going to be on payroll because, like what you said, now even if I'm on the practice team now, I'm gonna get a paycheck because I'm on the, and like you said, niggas get hurt in practice. Cats get hurt in practice. But this is where I feel like it should be. The NIL deal should be 2-year contracts, but they can be null and void if the coach ups and leaves. So now them players get to up and leave. They don't have to carry out that 2-year contract. But if everything stays the same, where same coach, those kids should have to at least play 2 years.
So let me pick back on that real quick, Bam. This is what I think they should do. Because when I was in college, from 97 to 2000, you basically had a 4 or 5 year scholarship, right? We just signed paper every summer just for technical purposes. Unless you failed drug tests or flunked out of school or did something so damn egregious to embarrass the university, they couldn't cut you. These schools now could come at you in spring ball and be like, say, man, I think you, because at my alma mater at Fresno State, they've done it. Jump in the portal. They couldn't do that back then, right? So here's what they should do. A kid should only be granted 2 transfer opportunities. I'm not even talking about the money. I'm talking about these kids turf hopping and you know, doing the LeBron thing. I'm gonna go team up over here. I'm leaving, right? They should only get granted 2. One should be if the coach leaves, yes, because they recruited me, yada yada yada. You know how that go. So that's one opportunity. The only other opportunity is one if the coach leaves and if you're a grad transfer. So you get 2 shots to transfer. You basically get the free one, and then you gotta graduate. That will slow down because here's the thing, guys. College football is dying because the fans can't even identify with their players. If the whole remember that so that means the recruiting class shit don't even mean nothing no more. That they might not even be there. So we need to get back to the essence of that. Yes, these young men should be getting paid because, like I said, 99% of them ain't playing after college.
Yeah.
And that degree, let's be real, that was the bullshit they sold to us. Oh, your room and board is paid for, you know, your school and books and all of that. That ain't guaranteeing you no bag after you get that piece of paper.
True. That's true.
So you gotta monetize yourself while you hot, so to speak. So if I'm gonna go play college football, that scholarship check and that Pell Grant ain't enough, bro.
That's a fact.
I think teams, just like any business, should be able to, if you get a guy, it's like, all right, we're gonna give you 1.5 a season, but you have to sign a 2-3 year quote unquote contract with them. Just like any company, right? The company can make you stay out there if you sign with them. If they give you a big signing bonus, they're like, all right, you have to stay with us for at least 2 years, or if you leave, you can't work for any competitor. Right? If we're treating it as a business, that's a business too. And I think a school should be allowed to do that, and the player in school can decide if it works for both of them.
Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with that, but remember, this is the beginning of this era. There are going to be lots of changes every year, and it's not going to be changes that's going to benefit the player. As you're seeing this cap put in place, that's not put in place to benefit the player. That's put in place to get back to what it used to be getting back to. College football, capitalizing on these players and taking advantage of them because they have less money and they have less knowledge about how it works.
And I think that's how people, they kind of forget, especially me, that this is new. It's a new thing. They still learning it. It's still going to change through time. So I think through time this whole thing would change, and it changed for the better, hopefully.
Well, you got to remember, it's just out in the open now.
Yeah,
They've been,
exactly.
Yeah, they've been doing
It was
it.
been
they've been
behind doors. Yeah,
SEC, and you had like the big your USC's, your Notre Dame's back in the day, your
Florida State,
Nebraska,
Ohio State,
Florida State, all them SEC schools, SMU when they got the death penalty with Eric Dickerson and Craig when they had the Pony Express, brother, they've been giving bags.
Yeah.
It's just now, and see, this is some people are not going to agree with what I'm about to say, but this is why I think a lot of these older coaches is getting mad, because now they can't do what they've always done. You
just
can
say his name, Nick Saban, cuz. Just say Nick Saban.
Got out of there. Because why? It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
That's right.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Now everybody can get the 5 stars, and he can't get everybody because now he's NIL money. He going there. That's a fact.
Nick was never mad at the NIL. He was just mad at them players. He was just mad at them players that was just there for the money, bro.
No,
like,
he
Nick
was
Saban
mad.
Really like developing players.
It's guys like Deion. It's a lot of former players getting opportunities now. Let's be honest.
But the only reason he got mad is the fact that Deion was able to fork over $1 million when Alabama boosters are very cheap. Like, it was no way for Nick Saban to convince a booster in Alabama to fork over $1 million for a player, bro.
I mean, if you was at Texas,
that's what Nick Saban was saying. Like, Alabama got money, they do got money, but
that's what he gonna say.
It's the boosters. It's the boosters.
Bam. I agree to a certain extent. I truly believe, because he wasn't the only one. It's some other ones, and I don't want to make it a race thing, but that's the elephant in the room now. Let's keep it 100.
Yeah.
It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. Think of it this. I played corner. If Deion came to my house and talked to my mom and daddy, I'm not going nowhere else. I'm going to play for him.
That's a fact.
How you think I recruit? I'm a former player. The young people fuck with me. They know I'm real, right? Y'all got to understand this. Let's peel back some layers real quick, fellas. The recruiting game is age old. It's pimping and hunger. That's what it is. I'm gonna sell water to a well, right? That's how it used to go. Back in the day, you couldn't get out of that situation. Once you sign that letter of intent, you there. If you tried to transfer, you gonna lose a year. You was gonna lose a year, and you had to go down the level. Am I right or wrong?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's now I don't have control. These coaches want control, bro. Why do you think I would never want to coach in the pros? I got offered a CFL job 3 years ago. That doesn't do it for me. I would rather coach college. Why? Because I'm dealing with young men. They're impressionable, and I think I have more of a voice to them than at the pro game.
But that's twofold with Nick Saban, though. Number one, he didn't make it in the NFL because he couldn't talk to those grown men that number two would whoop his ass. And number three, he didn't have as much control. Now, getting back to the Nick Saban in the college football, nobody's ever going to convince me that Nick Saban didn't get mad that he wasn't able to stockpile the type of talent that he was stockpiling, bro. That's why he mad.
Facts.
Time out. Because first off, Nick Saban only failed in the NFL because Drew Brees failed physical. Like, so he finally got his quarterback. We go add context here because you ain't just finna start Nick Saban. You got Nick Saban fucked up.
Nick Saban was a great X&O's coach. He a great
The only reason he failed in the NFL is because as a head coach, because he had success. The last time the Browns was a competent football team, guess who's the defensive coordinator? Nick Saban.
We know that.
But the only reason he failed, Drew Brees didn't have plastic physical, so he had to run Ricky Williams to the dirt because that was his only weapon. He had to end up getting Dante Culpepper from free agency, a fat Dante Culpepper, to nobody that he was. At Alabama, I'm trying to tell you, it was if I have to pay for players with the boosters that we have, I'm not going to deal with that shit at 70 years old, bro.
And I can't keep a Derrick Henry on my bench, and I'm mad at Alvin Kamara. I'm mad. I'm taking my ball, and I'm going home.
Penny. Well, how was he able to get Caleb Downs then? And why Caleb Downs left? Because he said Nick Saban.
Let's keep it 100. He's going to say that. Once again, a little bit earlier. That's the narrative. The real problem is this. He could have got the money. He got an ego. I'm Nick Saban. I'm Alabama. Roll Tide.
Facts.
That's what it's about. Here's the deal. When the landscape has changed, bro. No longer like in the 90s. See, a lot of the young folks think Colorado just got hot. Colorado used to be like that. Nebraska was like that, right?
Yeah.
People wanted to go to them big schools. Them schools could kind of recruit themselves.
Yep.
Now you're talking about you could go to backyard Boogie State in Eastern Washington and get drafted first round. You don't have to go to the big school no more. Now, when you start paying players and there's NIL shit on the table and you could transfer, it's wide open. So the things he was able to do for so long, other people can do it now. Like, I'm gonna take my ball, like Penny said, and go home because it's easy to when you're at the top and nobody else can challenge you, it's crazy. Right. But when other people, okay, I didn't want to do this, but it's the same thing.
But wait though. What could he do that other people couldn't do? Because he was playing under the same rules as everyone else when he was dominating.
No.
What rules was different for him?
Come on, man. You.
What rule? That's real. That's real.
Everyone could slide money under the table.
No,
it wasn't just them.
Listen. People who know. The SEC, college football got rules, and the SEC got their own rules.
Right.
That's just every major program though. College
basketball.
It's
not like the SEC.
No,
it's like the SEC.
Bigger schools.
What's good?
Listen,
like the Lakers and Knicks.
I'm telling you what I know. I'm not telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know.
So we're saying the rule is just like the NCAA would overlook them giving money and they know it. You'd say
is that why the NCAA overlooked the ACC and Big East in basketball?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, bro. We talking about business. You're not gonna get me just because the ACC in basketball is my squad. I know what it takes to run the business. You think it's a coincidence that the ACC was running basketball and the Big East was running basketball?
Y'all hear me?
You think it would be a coincidence for them to turn their head and close their eyes?
The SEC been doing this shit forever, right? Mm-hmm. Boosters, motherfuckers going in their dorm room, finding a bag of money. USC was doing it too. There's a lot of them big schools that was doing it. However, what I'm saying is this. When I could go into Alabama, okay, so prime example. I'm going to give y'all a great example. Najee Harris, Bay Area guy, Antioch High School. He could have went to any school in the galaxy, right or wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
What would make
he was committed to Michigan?
Listen, exactly. And USC could have went anywhere. What would make a kid from California want to go to Tuscaloosa? Let's keep it 100, right? So there's things you gotta look, you gotta not be naive.
Right.
Now other people, it's legal now, quote unquote, right? Other people can do those things. That's why he stepped away. Yes, he's made a bag, he's rich as hell, he don't need the money, he's a legendary coach. You can't take that away from him. But what I'm saying is when other people now have the ability to do the same things that he's doing, he don't want to deal with that.
But Dante, then they had the same ability, like everybody in the SEC. By what you saying? Okay. Teams like LSU, you have Florida, Georgia. Those are still pinnacle programs. Then you added Texas A&M. Why they didn't do it?
They were doing it. Alabama. Right. Listen, the SEC is top heavy. We know this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's keep it 100. Georgia was no slouch. LSU wasn't no slouch. What I'm saying is Alabama was the best at doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But also this too, another thing too, why y'all kind of gotta like get up off of it. Throughout those times, his 17 years at Alabama, 7 different offensive coordinators moved on to get head coaching jobs. 6 different defensive coordinators moved on to get head coaching jobs. So it's not like he pulled a Bear Bryant where he held his coaching staff hostage. Everybody that came through Alabama went up to the league. Most first-round draft picks ever. So if he did switch out on that plantation, guess what you get behind this door? First round. You feel me? And like I said, nobody else was doing that.
But nobody said they weren't going to reap rewards. What we are saying is that Nick Saban especially quit because he couldn't keep being the only one doing it that way. It is what it is, bro. You can be legendary.
That's a false narrative, bro.
Oh, you can say
because again, everybody in the SEC had a chance to do it. And again, Nick
Okay.
Saban, while he was doing it,
Bam.
he promoted 7 offensive coordinators
Bam. You missing
and
that.
6 defensive coordinators. And
Bam.
then one of his defensive coordinators pulled a heist on the NCAA. 96 million up there in Michigan State.
Bam.
He helped the nigga pull a heist.
Listen, though. I hear what you're saying. There's some truth to what you're saying, but also you got to look at it from this standpoint. Lane Kiffin was our 3rd string quarterback when I was at Fresno. He ended up being a GA at Fresno, right? Lane is a phenomenal offensive mind.
Oh my
People,
goodness.
people, listen, it ain't all Nick Saban. I'm not taking away his legendary status, but let's push it. People them coordinators was going there so they could get a bag.
Right.
That was the way to get the bag.
Yeah, they got head coaching jobs after that, for sure.
Exactly. That's my point.
I fuck with Lane.
The top guy is only as good as his assistants. The same shit with Belichick in New England.
Hey, what Lane doing in Tennessee?
That was before he got up under Nick Saban.
Oh, see, here we go with these excuses.
What he doing at Ole Miss? What he doing at Ole Miss?
As soon as you start bringing out,
he got a high power offense.
That offense
He got
crazy.
a high power offense, and everybody's stealing this shit now.
Hold on.
Switch Wassell, bro. Everybody's stealing this shit.
I'ma say
Lane
this.
a demon out there calling them plays.
I'm gonna say this.
He do this before the play even happened. He doing this.
I'm gonna
That
say
offense OP.
Lane was good before the Alabama tenure. Let's not try to give credit when it ain't that.
He
great.
was okay.
He
He
was
got
good.
that when
Listen.
he came down to the South and he had to compete against. Because what happened was, because this is where I say I'm a real Bama insider. Yes, Lane was great because of his daddy, Money. He grew up around the OFO USC. I know that he's smart, but what I'm saying is how he was able to go to Ole Miss and set up shop in the South, Dante. Like it's rare for West Coast niggas to come in the heart of the South, Ole Miss, and be able to have success. He was struggled at Tennessee. First off, when he was on he struggled at Tennessee.
Everybody
Once he got to Alabama and he had a chance to go back and forth with Kirby Smart and Nick Saban. I'm trying to tell you, that nigga probably seen some defenses we ain't never seen before. Because them two right there, that's Ip Man and Mr. Miyagi. They talked about so many times where them two was going back and forth, and how Nick Saban talked to his assistant coaches. You're not finna talk to Lane like that. Like, and I feel Lane, you ain't finna talk to me crazy, and I ain't finna call no plays, So they really had piss matches back and forth.
I get that, but you're forgetting critical, pivotal things that on his way before that. He didn't even need that. His daddy invented Tampa 2. He was already on his way. Remember, he did his thing at USC. He got Al Davis hired him hella young. He was already going to them places. So, and he wasn't he in South Florida? He was doing at whatchamacallit? He was out there doing it with that program. So he's been on his trajectory. What I'm saying is anybody after Philip Fulmer has not been great at Tennessee because you got to live. So we can't use that. Nobody even wants that job.
Josh Heupel, though. Josh Heupel doing a good job.
What are you doing?
Pete
Carroll.
Because
too.
they can't walk in them shoes. Philip Fulmer, man, he had that shit rocking in the 90s.
Pete Carroll had it rocking.
But what I'm saying, I'm talking about University of Tennessee.
Oh, I thought you said USC.
Nobody, it's people who know. No.
Oh yeah, Tennessee. Yeah, I don't know why I thought you said USC.
Now Lane was at USC. He did numbers. He's a good offensive coach. All I'm saying is I'm saying that Saban's there's two things can be true. I agree with what you're saying, but also on the flip side of it, let me get my ass up out of here because I can't just dominate like I used to. Because everybody else now can do the things that I was doing. Because I can't. He couldn't sell Alabama to them same guys the way he was doing in the past. Let's say that. Because
Is Saban the best college head coach of all time, or no?
Huh?
Is Saban the best college head coach of all time, or no?
Absolutely.
Of course, not even close.
Absolutely, not even close.
Here we go with this greatest. I told y'all about the greatest ever. But
Yeah,
remember
I'll say it's
greatest
between
ever.
him and Eddie Robertson. Them the two like legendary. And if I could cross like generations, I would love to see them.
It's not even just Alabama too. It's also LSU and like obviously
And Nick
LSU is a
Saban-
big program too, but he
Absolutely.
revitalized the program.
Nick Saban said he regret ever leaving LSU. And that's why I really didn't work in the NFL, because he said his heart was still back in LSU and he felt like he did the wrong thing. He made the wrong decision because the dean at LSU, the athletic director, he was like, man, what you going to do? And Nick Saban was like, I don't know, man. He was like, follow your heart. Nick Saban ended up going to the NFL, and he said he regretted because his heart was actually at LSU. And I just be thinking, man, Nick Saban probably would have had like 10 national championships if he would have stayed.
Well, you just let what Nick Saban say be just a written word. Did Nick Saban also say when he was in the NFL, man, I'm not going to go coach that team? Then the next week he coaching that team. Man, get out of here, man. Nick Saban finna lie just like the next coach.
Okay, so watch this.
Penny. So when I'm retired, I have no reason to sit up here and lie to them. Like I'm retired. I ain't got no allegiance to nobody right now. If I sit up here and say, bro, I shouldn't have left my old chick for the new one, bro. Like, come on now, bro. Like you could that holds some type of merit.
What you saying is some of it is I can ride with you there, but
Right.
I'm not, because Bobby Bowden turned a Florida State program from nothing to something, and he put out the greatest ever. Lou Holtz was a motherfucker at Notre Dame.
Yes.
And watch this. I'm gonna throw a name because he's my California guy, so I'm gonna throw him out there. Pete Carroll had the same type of situation when he left.
Dude, he had it rocking.
He was terrible in New England. Then when he went back, because USC, watch this. I'm a California guy. When I was in college, USC wasn't USC. UCLA ran LA. UCLA was.
Yep.
Now, Pete Carroll came back. He turned it all the way back up.
Yep.
And he was able to parlay that, for obvious reasons. We know why. He took the Seattle job, turned Seattle up. Now he's winning.
As you said, he had his assistants too, because
exactly.
the difference is you had Dan Quinn, and then they built that whole defense. Who, like, that defense, that team actually was just ridiculous. That's one of the teams that I feel like stands with all those teams back then.
What's so crazy? Pete Carroll coached secondary on that 95 Browns team. Nick Saban was D coordinator. Pete Carroll was the secondary coach. Bro, that is insane. Bill Belichick, head coach.
Yeah, that Browns tenure with Belichick shouldn't have been a failure, but sadly, it just.
But again, when you have the ability to have young men, you can talk to young men and you can keep young men in a certain place. Right. You can't do that no more, Bam. I'm telling you. You listen, it's just like the league. If you got somebody making, I'm not going to say his name, but one of my former coaches who's a great coach told me in the office when I was still in college. He's like, Dante, I've been offered NFL jobs. I'm not taking no NFL job. Some 21-year-old millionaire asshole tell me he ain't going to run down on kickoff. I'm telling you, bro, this shit goes on. So you can't, it's a different type of relationship when you're a college coach versus a NFL coach. Now with this NIL shit and all this other stuff, this is why me and Penny saying what we saying. When I got a player telling me he ain't gonna play in the national championship only if how much money you gonna give me, that's when it was over with, because he can't control them no more.
Right.
So multiple things can be true at the same time. He got out because there's other coaches that are able to get that same 4 or 5 star that he was able to just get easily. Can't do it no more. It's hard for everybody. Right. So now what I think positive that can come out of this, what I do like about the current landscape of college football, it's a lot of former players, black former players getting opportunities. That's what I really love, because it's a gatekeeping good old boy situation. Penny, and I know you know what I'm talking about. It's been that for a long time. Who can teach you how to do what you need to do than a person that really did it? A rat can't teach you how to fly. So I like that dynamic. Now, on the other side of it, he's a legendary coach. We can't take nothing away from him. But I really do believe he saw what was happening and he said, deuces.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let me ask y'all this question then. If y'all think that y'all like Ryan Williams, everybody like Ryan Williams.
Cool. He's cool.
He's talking up. Yeah, he I mean, he a young wide receiver, man. He got a lot of development. He's a good athlete.
You know why he went to Alabama? You know who recruit that was, right?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
My fucking point exactly, man. Nick Saban, man. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He
No,
had this shit.
Oh my God. Are
He
you
gonna be
president
nice.
of the
Ryan
Nick
gonna be nice.
Saban fan
And,
club? Lord
and then
Jesus.
and then on top of this, on top of that, they almost had Jeremiah Smith too, man. If Nick Saban would have stayed, you had a chance of seeing Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams
That
out
would have
there.
been crazy. I ain't
That
gonna
would
lie.
have been
You think you're
Oh,
talking,
that would have been
talking to the Nick
crazy.
Saban? You're talking to the head of the Nick Saban fan base.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm
Bam,
sorry,
bam.
man.
Hey, it's okay. At least you admitted it.
Yeah, bro.
No, I agree. I think Nick Saban's. I just think as a head coach, I like the stuff that you're saying about getting the right assistant, all that stuff. I still hold that in a high regard for a coach. In order to do that, it's like kind of like what Dan Campbell did this or in the last couple of years with the Lions. Like, are we going to say that Dan Campbell's a mastermind behind what they do? No, but he put guys in place in order to make that happen.
There you go.
He's I mean, like, head coaches are definitely just one part. In college, it's way different.
There you go.
In college,
There you go.
it's more like a GM. It's more like a president of operations position than like
Well,
in the NFL where it's like, you have a GM that that you appoint to. So,
remember, Nick Saban's not going to hire, and if he does hire someone who he doesn't believe that he can control to do exactly what he tells them to do, that's number one. When you see him have those antics and those meltdowns on the lines, and those are the coaches that get left by the bus or the plane.
And that's why I rock with Lane Kiffin. Lane did not go. I remember this like it was yesterday. Nick Saban started to yell at Lane. That nigga Lane said, "Fuck you." That was the first time I saw a coach do that. And that's when I was like, that nigga Lane let his nuts hang. And that's why he became the head coach of Ole Miss, man.
Bam. That happens a lot, contrary to popular belief. A
But
lot
not
of
in Alabama, though. A lot of them coaches
Listen. What I'm saying is, a lot of the public don't see what be going on.
Yeah.
It be coaches on the staff that they fucking don't like each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's an ego thing, bro. That's why I'm loving. People can say what they want to say. Let me bring this up real quick, and I'll see what y'all chime in and see what y'all think. I love what Deion Sanders is doing at Colorado. He's doing it his way. He hired Warren Sapp after Warren got his degree. Marshall Faulk is the running backs coach. I fucking love what he's doing, and the reason why I love it because I see a lot of my coaching style kind of similar because I was a former player. I really care about these young men. And you can see genuinely with Prime. That's why a lot of these dudes is going there. It's not only because they can play for a guy and other guys that been there, done that. You got 3 gold jackets on that staff, bro, that they didn't buy. If I'm a running back, Marshall Faulk come sit in my living room, say less. I'm going.
And just to piggyback, he not only does he care about what you do on the football field, I think he really cares about what you do off of the football field, like school wise, just what you want to do in your life. Because like y'all said, bro, it's a 1% chance you want to play pro. Not everybody going. Y'all ain't gonna all go. So I think he really takes that into account as well. That's why I love what he's doing out there.
Yeah, and I think the expectations that people put on Prime in the Buffalo, like what they've done since he's gotten there is like insane. Like you look at a team that was struggling to get over 500 and now they're winning like 3 or 4 games, or they're only losing 3 or 4 games. Like to get to that level in 2 years it's
crazy.
And I think if Prime stays there within the next 5 years, I mean, we could see this team really be a powerhouse. I don't necessarily think it's going to be within the next. I mean, they're going to have to find their core guys. That's kind of the next step. Is like
they need trenches.
They need trenches. Yeah,
I think Deion's a good motivator, man. He's a good leader, especially for young athletes. He's not a great X's and O's coach.
You don't need to be.
That's fine. Sure, that's fine. That's fine. 100%. You don't need to, especially the college level. But there are certain situations in games where being a great X's and O's coach will help. Different adjustments you make. Like to me, if he had the lead assistants do that for him, sure. But that's still lacking with Deion, and I think that might hold him back. Again, great leader, man. Great motivator. Great recruiter. All that. But when it comes to the in-game adjustments, I haven't seen it at the level of some of the elite coaches.
Okay, so
I don't see him being able to recruit the guys he really need, man. Like I get it with his son, but I don't see him being able to get quarterbacks like Arch Manning. I don't see him being able to get D linemen like
There's
Mason
other
You think
Graham
it's
or
because
that.
of
Or
like
that
a
status.
relatability thing? You
I
think
don't.
it's
I
something like
honestly
that?
don't know, but he's gonna need certified trench players. Like this is what I'm saying. Colorado was cool, bro, but they would have got their ass whooped in the
Okay,
SEC, bro.
listen. Listen. This is what people got to
And
understand.
that's what it's gonna take to win a natty, Dante.
But
No,
Bama,
but
they're only 2
not
years in,
not
3 years
about
into this.
it's not about winning the natty. See, people. This is the problem with this in social media bullshit. It's not a. You got to go do like Penny said. This is why I preface this whole podcast today saying I fuck with the younger generation, but it's more of an educational thing because I think there's a lot of ignorance to it. You got to understand, certain coaches. There's been coaches, right, that if other than Dion, if they would have got their job and did what Dion did, oh my God, it's just so you wouldn't have got all that hate and backlash about
That's
that.
what I was saying right before. Yeah.
They want to get the love too, though. It goes both ways.
No. You didn't interrupt me. You didn't interrupt me. No, I was just saying.
That's the thing that I don't
Yeah.
I don't like that because if you're gonna give this, if it's another guy, oh, we see what 2 or 3 years and he gets his recruiting class in, he's gonna be great. It gotta be the same barometers for everybody, standards. It gotta be for everybody. Prime get too much backlash that other people don't get because he Prime. Now, here's what I'm saying. He don't need to win the natty. Them motherfuckers was like 1 in whatever or 2 in whatever before
That's
he got.
what I was saying.
So
The fact that he's changed in 3 years to go
Yeah.
from fighting to be over 500 to only 3 losses this year. And that's only in 3 years. And I still think realistically, as I said, there's going to be another transition period because they lost their 2 best players. But like that being said, in the conference that they're in, I don't think that they don't need another Travis Hunter. They just need a better, if they could get a very balanced team. Like there was so many problems with that team this year. Like when it comes to like the trenches, they could improve that while also being able to get a couple skill guys. I think that they could find themselves competing for the national championship because in the conference that they're at, they don't have to be a mega powerhouse. They just have to be good.
Well,
So
watch this.
I think what Dion's done is really, really good. I think he should be being praised for sure.
Here's the thing that you guys got to know. In the college game, it's about Joes and Moes. It ain't X's and O's, brother. In the pro game, everybody's good. So it comes down to the X's and O's. Y'all, does that make sense to y'all?
I hear you. I do think, yeah.
Dante, let me ask you a question.
I mean, it's like you're playing against like future sales guys compared to.
I want to ask Dante a question though. You think in year 3, you don't think Nick Saban would have had them in the college football playoff?
No.
Hey, Bama. You know who didn't need transitional years? Nick Saban. He replaced the stars with other stars right away. He didn't need no transitional year, no come up year, no break year. It was year after year after year after year.
First of all,
but they're not in the same spot.
First of all, no. Listen to what I'm saying. Alabama was terrible for a stint in the 90s. They wasn't even relevant. So let's cut the bullshit.
Yeah, in the 90s.
Okay, I ain't gonna say 90s. It was 2000s.
It
was 2000. Relax.
When I listen,
Relax,
Bama. When I was in college, listen to me. When I was in college, 97 to 2000, Alabama wasn't Alabama that y'all know now. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
So my whole point is this shit goes in waves. We gotta stop. See, that's why I be getting mad when people don't know. Like I'm telling you,
he was on probation though.
Listen to what I'm saying.
That matters. And we won the Orange Bowl that year with Sean Alexander.
Listen, just like USC.
Y'all got us fucked up.
Listen, let's take the emotion out of it. We just talking real. Let's talk real.
Yeah. Talk to me.
And people know USC was trash. UCLA was the king of LA while I was in college, right? When Pete Carroll came back from getting back into coaching and he arrived on campus, shit changed really fast. You can argue that USC team, that some of his teams he had, probably top 3 ever in college football.
GOAT teams.
Along with that 2001 Miami Hurricane team.
Yep.
And they just gave Reggie Bush his
Heisman. And the 2009 Alabama and the 2015 Alabama. Like y'all stop playing with me.
Fucking with them teams, bro.
But I think what people are leaving out of context when they're talking about Deion Sanders is, remember, Deion Sanders is going to a school where they're not used to being a powerhouse.
Right.
Nick Saban went into a conference
Okay,
that
watch.
specifically
Watch.
has been designed
Ether.
to
Ether.
be a powerhouse.
Yeah.
So he had all the resources. He just had to keep that momentum.
Damn it, he just
Deion is
started being a
building.
coach.
Correct. Deion is
Saban already had
building
multiple
all of that.
tenures.
No, but look, this is why I say that's nasty. First off, Toledo losing record before Nick Saban. They get Nick Saban 9-3, 10-2.
Michigan State too.
Michigan
right?
State losing record before Nick Saban. They get Nick Saban 10-2, 10-2. He goes to LSU, second year, wins the Natty. Then goes to then he stays there for a second. Off of his recruits in 2007. Off of his recruit, Les Miles, arguably one of the worst play callers in college football, wins a national championship with the recruits left over from Nick Saban. So he has a overflow. Like he has the over. I get so many riches here. Okay, cool. We didn't do good in the NFL. But by year 2, Alabama was 11 points away from beating one of the greatest teams of all time, Tim Tebow, 2007 Gators, 2006 Gators. We lost to Tim Tebow. Then we rebuttal back and go undefeated. Year 3, year 2, we did it with John Parker Wilson. Man, all my real Alabama fans know John Parker Wilson.
Time out.
Bro,
All
listen,
right.
if not, we went 12-0 with John Parker Wilson and didn't lose to the SEC championship.
Bama, you don't take Bama, don't take the conversation left. We not saying that he ain't great.
What I'm saying is, if you put him in Colorado,
no,
they would have been in the college football playoffs.
I don't think
they would have been in the college football playoffs.
Here, listen,
not with that squad though, Bama. Not with that.
He wouldn't have had that squad. That's what I'm telling you.
He would
have had a better squad by now. Like in the trenches, he would have started with the trench. He probably wouldn't have got Travis Hunter, but he would have got one of the top trench players in the country. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Listen what I'm saying. In a previous setup, prior to NIL and transfer portal, I might agree with you. All that shit out the window now, bro. That's what we saying. That's why he stepped away. Because that shit wasn't gonna fly no more. I'm telling you. These are facts. So that doesn't take away his greatness. We gotta stop doing that shit. Listen what I'm saying, because you younger than me, so you gonna this is gonna resonate with you, right?
Yeah.
These youngsters, man, they ain't, and Penny know this. Youngsters is weird. They different. They shit that appeals to them. We played because we loved the game. Right. If we played it because we loved it, we was gonna excel, and then we was gonna eventually get paid.
Right.
These kids, they playing just to get a dollar, because that you can't. Money is only gonna only motivate you for so long, bro. You gotta
Point in case. Let me take this to baseball. Did y'all know Mookie Betts is so great? He didn't even watch baseball growing up. Mookie Betts. This man said they asked him about players in the game. Mookie Betts didn't even know. He was like, I didn't even watch it.
Sometimes he's good at a sport. Like, he's not going to watch it. I hear you.
Mookie Betts is 5'8" and he can dunk. That's just
and he can run routes too. Y'all seen Mookie Betts run routes?
No, he's an athlete. Mookie an athlete.
Yeah, he'll be a top 10 route runner today. Like,
I've never seen someone that small hit the ball that far.
I ain't never seen nobody move that far.
It is different.
I mean, there's like, we could have these debates all day long, but there's like I said, multiple things can be true at the same time, and you also got to take variables. So going back to what we was talking about earlier, I think the college game, we're witnessing the death of college football. And what I mean by that, you're taking away, now mind you, I'm a former player, so I got both ends of the spectrum. Yes, shit, I want reparations. Like, we all, I gave 4 years of my life, blood, sweat, and tears to my universe. What I'm saying is this, though. Yes, these guys need to be compensated, because to the people that weren't scholarship athletes, those are usually the ones with the big ass mouths always talking negative, right? Y'all don't know. I didn't get special treatment to turn in college assignments when I had to go fly to Hawaii or Ohio State. I had to turn that shit early. I'm up at 5 a.m, rolling around in the mud, 5 a.m. workouts. Like, that's why I got a different perspective on this shit. You gotta pay them. The scholarship check and the Pell Grant twice a year, once each semester, is not enough.
Not enough. Yeah.
So yeah, they should get paid. But here's the thing. You gotta put more stipulations and rules in it because it's just a wild west. This is the only downside to this whole setup. I'm tired of seeing dudes play at 5 schools, or they're just transferring every other minute. You can't connect. You can't, because I coach. I would be real pissed off if I go recruit a kid. I develop him. Let's say I recruit a kid out of school and I develop him for 2 years. Then he becomes an All-American. Then let's say big school come with a big bag and they take my guy. I'm going to feel some type of way. Mind you, my job could be on the line now. Because guess what they're telling coaches now, fellas? You got to keep recruiting your guy, even though he's already committed and he playing at your school.
That's crazy. That's a crazy thing to think about.
Also, too, when it comes to the development aspect specifically, I feel like if you were switching every single year, that kind of screws with your development, because I'd much rather have a development with like one coach over the course of 2 years. Like, I feel like it's just better to stick with the coach that like understands, I don't know, how you play and how you've progressed over another coach that, you know, may not know when you come into the system how you play best and like what you need to work on specifically. So that's also part of it.
They're developing their bank account.
I just feel like the college thing specifically, they just need to find a way to even up the pay so that the dudes who aren't going to make it actually receive some sort of money. Because then if they can't do that correctly, then what happens is you've got the best guys who are going to make the NFL making the most money. And then it becomes a problem with, are the guys who are making the most money taking it the most seriously? And obviously you'll have guys that just do that because that's who they are. But then you'll have other guys that are, you know, influenced by the wrong things. And when they get to the NFL, now they don't have the physical advantages. Now it's about, how do you learn? How do you develop? How do you do all these things? How do you become better? And if they haven't improved that, then they're screwed once they get to that.
Nah, but from what I understand though, Mike, so this is how those guys actually are going to get paid. Because again, the collective NIL
that's what I'm saying,
and this is three different funds. So I think this with the NCAA is to make sure that the 99th man gets paid right here. Like,
that's
this is not necessarily for, this is to make sure everybody that plays sports there get paid. So they allocating 23 million to everybody. Now you still have the collective, which is the boosters go pitch in, whatever the case may be. And then you're going to have the NIL. Once them players get there, they're going to be able to be on commercials, whatever the NCAA,
and the
all
NIL
that
stuff for the best players. That's fine to me too.
Leaving out this, all schools don't have to opt into that though. Yeah. See, it's not just clean cut and dry the way they make it seem. You have an opportunity, and it's supposed to go up 4% every 3 years. That allotment, and all schools don't have to participate in that.
I know UO's not.
The SEC, the SEC and the Big Ten already been talking about breaking away from the NCAA.
Well, let me give y'all a news flash too. I think y'all might know this already. The NCAA is about to get pushed out. Yeah. They're trying to go to 2 or 4 super conferences, and they want to govern their own conference. They don't want no nosy NCAA people to have no say so over nothing. That's what they was talking about this 5 years ago, and that's how y'all see all these conference.
Dante March, I'm sure you know this. All the NCAA do is drug test you doing motherfucking playoffs. That's it. They don't do nothing else but drug test you
and get all the money.
Get all the money. Yeah. That's it. They don't do nothing else. Like, you still got a conference president. Like, so when you go on all the events, the banquets, like they're the ones you see majority of the time. Like, once we do see anything that's involved in a conference, Dante March played at a higher level than me. I played Division II, but it still stack up the same. Like, so when it's not the NCAA doing these things. Like, I don't even think, if I'm not, the NCAA, even if you win a national championship, they don't even give you the national. It'd be the president or whatever conference it is. Like, so it's like, at the end of the day, what are they really there for besides just taking money? Because they're a non-profit.
They're just a governing body that technically isn't needed.
Too, of like,
The same way we got to pay taxes.
Facts.
I just
Facts.
think
Good
too,
point.
like, the last thing with this is like, I think that players should get the money that they want, and if they want to leave, and it's like the best opportunity, I think they should, because coaches can't do. But I think that some of the best players got to realize, like, look, when you get to the NFL, you have an obligation to play for that team. Like, you're not gonna get out of it unless you're Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Then after 2 or 3 years, yeah, you could leverage your way out of it if you want to. But that's even going to be tough. Like, the NFL is completely different. You don't have an opportunity to choose where you want to go unless you're a free agent. So I think that aspect too, like, they should be aware of. But at the end of the day, that's part of like getting drafted and becoming an NFL player. Like, those
Can I ask
things
you a
you're going to
question?
have to learn. There's a learning curve with that.
Yeah, actual question. It's the last thing before we get up out of here too, because we coming in on the 2-hour mark.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think everybody wants to play in the NFL? No.
No.
So once again, the conversation of, I agree, because that was the way I came up. That was the goal. If I get to the league, I'm gonna get some money, and I could be at that elite level. That's what was enticing me. It wasn't about money in college. Now, when you pay some of these guys in college, a lot of them are not going to get that opportunity at post-college. So now they can leave college with a degree in hand, and they got a nice little start off in life, 2, 3, 4, 500, maybe $1 million to get their life started. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Now, the flip side of it is people they all butthurt. It's been a business, bro. It's always the collegiate level has always been the farm system for the NFL. So why are we? I mean, at the end of the day, we know what it is. I don't know why people acting all surprised.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah, facts.
Go look at the vacation homes of people who are on like the board of directors of these NCAA boards and schools. They'd be buying $2-3 million houses, and people are upset if these guys buy cars and chains and all that.
Right.
It is interesting to see for sure.
Right.
That is true. Yeah, that's true.
Well, all right, y'all, fellas. I appreciate y'all showing up, man. We'll see y'all again this time next week, y'all. And we'll get to that actual draft, man, this time. But it was just a lot of good conversation meant to be had. D Marsh, bro, I always love your insight, OG. Always just here.
You love
educate, man.
Too much, man.
Yeah, I know, bro. I try to tell folks I'm a redneck when it comes to Alabama, bro. Like, the only thing they did wrong was George Wallace, and everybody know that's an insider. You'll just have to know the real history of Alabama with that. I ain't gonna lie, they tripped with that. Governor Wallace was tripping, but for the most part, bro, it's always Roll Tide. They win in the national championship this year. Sneak that in there. FS Pooh, that was an FS Pooh fan. Y'all ain't gonna be good until y'all get Dion or somebody over there. Maybe Shador come coach over there.
Hey, don't try to
years.
Don't try to deflect on me because you saying that Alabama gonna win the national championship and then quickly talk about FSU. Y'all not winning the championship. Shut it up.
Ryan better than your whole roster.
What, y'all not winning the national championship? Let
We'll
me keep
see.
saying that.
Ryan a dog. England, Ryan a dog. He a dog.
We'll see. Then we got that boy Horton. We finna go off this year. All
Y'all
right,
not
y'all.
winning the championship.
Ty Simpson FC.